I never thought I'd see the day when a ceasefire in the Middle East would lead to such controversy. But that's exactly what happened in January 2025, when President Trump, newly reinstated, brokered an unexpected truce between Israel and Hamas. This wasn't just any ceasefire, it was followed by a significant shift in U.S. policy, one that would send ripples through the entire region. On January 20, 2025, Donald Trump was sworn in as President of the United States for a second non-consecutive term. Just days later, he shocked the world by facilitating a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. How did this happen? Trump, along with his longtime friend and real estate mogul Steve Witkoff, leveraged their connections to push for an agreement that had eluded previous administrations. This wasn't Trump's first rodeo in Middle East diplomacy. During his first term, he'd brokered the Abraham Accords, normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab states. But this time was different. The stakes were higher, the conflict more intense, and the global spotlight brighter than ever before. What made this ceasefire different from previous attempts? For starters, it came on the heels of a failed proposal by the Biden administration in May 2024. Trump's team, in contrast, took a more aggressive approach, applying pressure on both sides to come to the table. The agreement included provisions for the release of hostages, a halt to Israeli bombardments, and a framework for future negotiations. Interestingly, Trump himself expressed skepticism about the durability of the agreement. In interviews with Al Jazeera and NPR, he acknowledged the fragility of the situation, stating that while he hoped for lasting peace, he was prepared for potential setbacks. In the days following the ceasefire, we saw immediate effects on the ground. Hostages were returned to their families in emotional reunions that made headlines worldwide. The constant barrage of bombs and rockets that had become a grim norm in the region fell silent. For the first time in months, people on both sides could sleep without the fear of air raid sirens. However, maintaining the ceasefire proved challenging. Preventing Hamas from rearming and monitoring Gaza's reconstruction became key priorities. The international community watched with bated breath, hoping this fragile peace would hold. UN reports indicated that over 70% of Gaza's infrastructure had been damaged or destroyed during the conflict, presenting a monumental reconstruction challenge. As the ceasefire took hold, Trump authorized a controversial shipment of Mk-84 bombs to Israel. The decision drew mixed reactions, highlighting the complexities of Middle East politics. Historically, U.S. military aid to Israel has averaged about $3.8 billion annually, making this resumption a significant policy shift. The ceasefire forced both Hamas and Israel to recalibrate their strategies. Israel gained temporary peace but continued its security operations, walking a delicate balance. A political analyst explains the delicate balance both sides must maintain. An Arab-American voter explains the shift in support towards Trump. This unexpected shift highlighted the complex nature of Middle East politics and its impact on U.S. domestic politics. Polling data showed a 15% increase in Arab-American support for Trump compared to the 2020 election. Despite the ceasefire, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza persisted with enormous challenges in rebuilding. The scale of destruction made progress slow and difficult, raising questions about the effectiveness of the ceasefire. UN reports indicated that over 2 million people in Gaza were in need of humanitarian assistance, with 60% facing food insecurity. The international community's response to the ceasefire was far from unified. Some nations hailed the agreement as a step towards peace, while others remained skeptical. Perhaps most controversially, accusations of genocide against Israel continued to circulate, vehemently denied by both Israel and the United States. These conflicting narratives created a complex diplomatic landscape. The U.S. found itself in the challenging position of defending its ally Israel, while also trying to maintain credibility as a peace broker. This balancing act would prove crucial in shaping the future of U.S. involvement in the region. The UN Human Rights Council reported over 46,700 Palestinian casualties during the conflict, a figure disputed by Israel. As we look to the future, uncertainty looms large. The ceasefire, while a positive step, left many questions unanswered. How will Gaza be reconstructed? Can Hamas be effectively disarmed? Will the Palestinian Authority return to Gaza, as many consider best for long-term stability? Trump's cancellation of sanctions against Israeli settlers further complicated these already complex peace prospects. One thing is clear: the road to lasting peace in the Middle East remains long and fraught with challenges. But perhaps, in the unexpected moves of 2025, we've seen a glimpse of what might be possible when unconventional approaches are applied to this age-old conflict. As we've seen, the events of 2025 marked a significant shift in the Israel-Hamas conflict and U.S. Middle East policy. From an unexpected ceasefire to controversial military aid, from humanitarian crises to shifting political allegiances, this chapter in the region's history is as complex as it is consequential. As we continue to watch these events unfold, one thing is certain: the impact of these decisions will be felt for years to come.